we have seen regular expressions. You're given a pattern and a string and ask, hey, does this string match this pattern or not? So the basic idea, we've talked about regular expressions for single characters, and then talked about how to combine regular expressions to get longer ones. Okay, so I want to go to go down the notes page and scroll down a bit. I have a regular expressions examples. I might rename that to fun with regular expressions or something like that. Playing with regular expressions. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put in, so I have a little, I have some code here where I can put in different strings and I can put in different patterns and we'll see whether or not they match. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put in the patterns ABC. That's going to be a very simple pattern, matches ABC. A star B plus C star. Okay. And then here's one. I want a pattern for things that start with A and end with Z. Can you give me a regular expression for strings that start with A and end with Z? You go ahead and pause. Yeah, exactly. We'll have a bunch of stuff. How do I say a bunch of stuff? Well, dot means any one character. So a dot z would be starts with A, ends with Z, and has exactly one character, but I want any number of characters in between, so instead of dot, I'll say 0 to many dots. Okay, so those will be my patterns. Now here's the first little gotcha. In PHP, our patterns are actually going to start with a slash and end with a slash. They're going to be strings, regular old PHP strings, except they're going to start with a slash and end with a slash. Okay, that's a slight lie. They can go ahead and start with a tilde and end with a tilde. They can start with a hash character and end with a hash character. They can start with a open curly bracket and end with a closed curly bracket. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with with regular expressions. You can go read up about what a PHP allows exactly. I suggest using slash. It's in particular is what JavaScript uses in a slightly different way, but they use slash characters, so it's a little bit idiomatic to do that. Unless our JavaScript code client side and our PHP code server side, even though we might be stuck writing different languages, we can still try to make our code look similar to each other if we have code that's doing the same thing on both sides, like validation will be. Okay, here's some strings. Just the string ABC. That's going to be pretty straightforward. How about a string A, B, C, 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 C. Okay. And then those are kind of artificial strings. We'll have something a little bit more Englishy, if I can even say that word, but it's not really a word, so Englishy is not very Englishy. We'll talk about in a buzz ads. Okay, there we are. Let's go ahead and submit this, and we'll get the matching status, and let's review what we're going to be getting back if our server is connecting. Ooh, I can practice my pause operation here. Okay, well, it did come back after a moment. I'm not sure what was going on with the server there, but okay, so yeah, we look at this. ABC matches ABC. Yeah, okay, fair enough. ABC. Wait a minute, this isn't the string ABC. How can that be? Well, here's the big thing to remember. This table is generated by calling the function preregMatch, Perl regular expression match. You give it a pattern and a string. Does this, unfortunately, it doesn't mean does this string match the pattern? It means does the string contain a match for the pattern? Okay, so yeah, does this string contain a match for ABC? Yeah, ABC is right in the middle of it here, so that's why this ends up being a match. ABC does not occur anywhere in here, so we get a 0. Okay. A star B plus C. 0 more A's, followed by 1 or more B's. Well, yeah, okay, that matches here. Matches here. It's almost a canonical example of that. Find the match in here. It's not the whole string, but it's somewhere inside the string, a buzz adds, is a match for A star B plus C. Pause. Okay, now that you've paused, we can reveal where that match is. Here's one or more A's followed by, or sorry, one A followed by one B followed by 0 C's. Yeah, okay, that matches the pattern right there. Okay. A and then a bunch of stuff and then Z. So, okay, we have this, A, B, C. There's no Z in there, no matches, no matches. Oh yeah, A, bunch of stuff ending in Z, so we contain a match for that. But here, if you're looking closely, you might have said, oh yeah, I see that this has a match for that. But some of you might have said, you know, I thought it contained a match for A dot star Z, but I thought this was the match, just the word abuzz. Because that's A followed by a bunch of stuff followed by Z. And somebody else might have said, hey, it's just ABUZ. That's already a match for that pattern. And over here, ADZ, that by itself is a match. Well, it turns out, are all of those matches? Shouldn't we want to count multiple matches? It turns out this table is telling us if there's multiple matches, except that one thing to know about regular expressions is they try to match long, when you're looking for parts of the string that match the pattern, it tries to match long parts of the string. And so in this case, it went ahead and matched this whole part as the A dot star Z, and then it started looking for any further matches starting from the end of this match. Okay, so that may or may not make sense, but here, let's put another example here. Let's go ahead and B, A, B, B, C. And B, Abby. There we are. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and submit this form, and it says there's 3 matches. Go ahead and see if you can count find 3 matches to this pattern in here. Pause. Resume. Okay, yeah, this is one match. It tries to go big, so that actually whole thing, if you don't know this, but internally that whole thing counted as the match. A followed by an N. Oh, that doesn't match. That's not, I need to have at least one B, so I'm no good. All right, here's a match. The B by itself has 0 A's followed by a B followed by 0 C's. Okay. And then we have 1 A followed by 2 B's followed by 0 C's. That's the third match. Okay, so it turns out the function used to make this table, the PHP function, is called regmatchall, and it will go ahead and return a number, the number of matches that it finds. Okay, so, and that's the one that I tend to call myself just because regmatch just tends to return a Boolean which looks like 1 or 0 often when you print it out. But regmatchall is defined to return a number, the number of matches found within the string. Okay. Okay, so what if we wanted to match? I just want to match things that are like this without extra stuff at the beginning and the end. How can I limit that? There's a couple of things we had on a previous slide that we didn't talk about, and those were the caret, meaning this caret matches the very beginning of the input, the beginning of the string, and nothing else. It's kind of a weird little character for something that ends up not looking like anything. And then $sign looks like, it says, hey, I'll match the end of the string. Okay, so now I can go ahead and submit this and see that, hey, this will now only match things where the entire string is the beginning of the string followed by 0 or more A's, etc. So A, B, 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 C, C, that does match. By the way, I can also go ahead and if I could leave off the $sign and then have X, Y, Z here, and that still matches, okay? I have the beginning followed by A's, so that's sort of, I can use just the caret by itself to say, hey, match things that start at the beginning of the input, and then, you know, again, the string has to contain a match to that pattern, but to contain the caret, it has to be at the beginning. It's the only way around it. And we just demonstrate if I start with XYZ at the beginning, we'll get no matches to that pattern. Okay, it is pretty idiomatic that you have patterns that begin with caret and end with $sign, because often the question you want to say, hey, does this entire string exactly match the pattern? regmatch doesn't answer that. It says, does the entire string contain a match for that pattern? So the way we get around that, well, they added 2 special characters to regular expressions to get around it is what they did. So that's pretty common. Okay, these are called anchors, by the way, the caret and the $sign. I guess I could put stuff after the $sign, A, B, C, but nothing could ever match that. So that's a little bit silly to even have a regular expression that says the end of the input followed by more characters. There's no string that will end and then have more stuff after the end. So by definition of the end. Okay, let's go ahead and look at one more. I want to look at, we talked about some shortcuts for digits. I want to say, give me a regular expression for an A followed by digits, as many digits as you like, but at least one. How about this? An A followed by 3 or more digits, followed by a Z. Write a regular expression that matches that. And I don't care about the anchors at all. Pause. Okay, we're back. An A followed by 3 digits. So \D will give me a digit. Okay. \D is 2 digits. And I want 3 or more is what I said. I forget exactly what I said. 3 or more? Okay. That's at least 3 digits and possibly more. It's, a first digit and then a second digit. I could also say it like this, \D star. Exactly 3 digits followed by 0 or more digits. And then I want that followed by a Z. Okay, let's go ahead and try some inputs and make sure this works. Hey, A 411Z. A followed by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9Z. And how about an A followed by 4, 5Z? That shouldn't match. Let's make sure that works. Sure enough, the first 2 match and the last one doesn't. Okay, so great. That's again calling preg match all. Looking at some PHP code. Let me just go ahead and run the same things we've seen I've been typing in a table, but it's actually running the PHP code at the backend form handler. Let's go ahead and just run it interactively. I'm going to go ahead and say echo preg match. I'll use preg match all to count all the matches in there. And I'm going to do the same thing. So the thing to remember is that it's a string. The pattern is a string. And let me copy paste. Let me save some time here. Copy. Paste. And then I'll put in the string A411Z. Preceded by hey. Okay. Yeah, so I can go ahead and match this, and this will go ahead and give me back 1. That pattern occurs once in there. So here's the funny thing about this is if I look at the string, what's the best way to say this? Well, in PHP, this happens to work because \D, let's think about that \D. Yeah, how many characters? That's a string of how many characters? Well, remember that echo sterlen of \n. That's a string with 1 character, the new line character. So what happens if I go ahead and have a \D? PHP is kind of weird. It's like it says, oh well, D isn't one of the special escape characters, so we'll go ahead and just count that as 2 characters, a \, character followed by a D character. In Java, that is not true. Okay, in Java, if you have \D in your string, it will actually a \n will be the new line character. \D will be a compiler. It will say, hey, D is not one of the escape characters that you can use to build a string out of. And that way, you sort of makes more sense. So what do we do in Java? If Java has regular expression libraries as well, how would you make a regular expression in Java that would have a \D if you just, in Java, tried to go ahead and have the string A and then a \D, \D, \D star Z. In Java, yeah, that will give you an error. Oh, I want to make a string that contains a \/ character and then has a D character. Because that's what the regular expression library is looking for. The regular expression is a \, followed by a D, that to the regular expression library means something, and there better be both of those characters in the string, a backslash and a D, okay? So how do we get a backslash inside a string in Java? We have to go ahead and do this. What if we do this in the string in PHP? Hey, A411Z. Okay. Oh, this is a different error. What is this error telling me? Delimiter must not be alphanumeric or backslash. Oh, wait, yeah, I need to have that delimiter. I need to have a slash, a forward slash at the beginning of the end. There we are, okay. And now it comes back and says 1, just like it did here. Even though I doubled up all these backslashes, this is PHP being unexpected, in my view. The backslash is inserting a backslash character, and then the D inserts the D character into the string. Backslash D also inserted a backslash and a D into the string. So but backslash N works differently. Oh my goodness. Okay, so just be aware, if you're going ahead and making using regular expressions in most languages like Java, and you're building a string, and you want that string to be hey, regular expression library, here's the pattern I'm looking for, and I have things like star and plus and asterisk and backslashes and D's in there. Yeah, how do you get the backslash into your character? You do that. Which, while I'm on the topic, I'll just mention, sometimes in regular expressions you're matching things that want to include a backslash, okay? So that is, you want to go ahead and people type in file name, C:\blah, and you know, if that was the string of data, I want a regular expression that will match C:, followed by a backslash, followed by more stuff, okay? Well, great, but here's the regular expression for that. It's going to be, I'll just talk about the regular expression not represented in any particular programming language. It's a C, and then a colon, and then I need a backslash. Okay. And then followed by any characters, maybe dot star or something like that. Okay, the problem is for regular expressions, remember that in regular expressions, backslash is kind of special too, because backslash D means something special to regular expressions. So if you have a backslash in a regular expression, you need to actually put a backslash in your pattern to say, hey, this is a literal, matching a literal backslash, okay? Great, so I want a pattern that looks like this. If I'm in Java, how do I make a pattern? How do I make a string that looks like that contains 2 backslashes in a row? If I just give it this, it will only have a single backslash, because in Java string literals, backslash. Oh my goodness, I need to quote the first of those backslashes and then quote the second one. And so I'll just throw out there, if you're in Java and you want to make a regular expression that matches a literal backslash, you'll probably have 4 backslashes in your Java source code. Okay, just throw that out there. You'll see it, you'll come across things like that. So. Okay, PHP sort of obscures that by letting backslash D work, but other backslash things don't necessarily work. Okay, when I'm running my PHP code, I tend to actually use this here because it's the same thing that I'll need to put in my JavaScript or in my Racket code or my Java code. So it makes it easier to port to different languages. Okay, great. So that's how we actually call it inside our code, pregmatch, and we give pregmatch 2 arguments, or pregmatch all, and it returns the number of occurrences. Let's go ahead and add a few more. A77776Z. Aha! And that comes up and says, yeah, I found 2 matches to that string there. Okay, good. By the way, another thing you can do in your PHP, if you want to make patterns, is use single quotes, okay? What's the difference between a single quote and a double quote in making a string literal from double quotes versus single quotes in PHP? In double quotes, things get substituted, interpolated. If you have a variable in there, it will actually fill in the value of the variable. \n turns into a new line. With the single tick marks, \n does not turn into a new line. So the backslash character and the n character And in fact, in single quotes, I would suddenly have 2 backslashes in my pattern, which I don't want. So there, this is acting weird because I'm crossing a line boundary. But okay. So another way to do regular expressions is use single tick marks, and then you never need to put any backslashes, any extra backslashes in there, except for the backslash, which you still need. Oh. Okay. Great. So just different things to keep track of and worry about. Summary, call regmatch. The patterns you make in PHP are strings, but they're strings that begin and end with a slash character. That's sort of maybe the takeaway to remember. And then we've seen other things. You can have other delimiters. We're using our anchors, star, and $, because regmatch answers the question, does this string contain a match to this pattern? So, okay. Let me just mention one more thing that's worth knowing, talking about regular expressions in other languages. In JavaScript, we'll go ahead and use regular expressions. In JavaScript, you would go ahead and represent this regular expression with these characters here, and it would not be a string, okay? Don't throw extra quotes around that in your JavaScript program. Why? In JavaScript, they have to use the slashes, but here's the cool thing. The slashes are like the quote character, except it's saying, hey, we have 2 different data types. We have the data type string, and we have the data type regular expression pattern. And those are different data types, which they should be. So that's actually kind of nice. They have a literal way of entering regular expressions. They don't use the quote character. Those are for strings. Use a slash character. Those are for regular expressions. Okay, a / in JavaScript. In Java, how do you go ahead and represent... In Java, how do you represent anything that's a sort of complicated data type? It turns out you use the class java.util.regex.pattern. Now, if you import Java util regex, you just say pattern. You'll say things like new pattern, and you'll give it a string like a single backslash followed by D followed by a single backslash. The string only contains a single backslash. Okay. So you do things like this in Java. Make a new pattern object, pass the constructor a string, and it will make the underlying regular expression for you out of that. As convenience functions, a lot of Java methods go ahead and let you often pass in either a pattern object that you've previously constructed or a string. Okay? And if you give it a string, it calls the pattern constructor on that for you as a convenience. So that's nice too. Other languages do things a little bit different. Here's a language racket. You can go ahead and you have strings like hello, and then you have hash px for Perl regular expressions. Perl expressions, a \\d d, something along those lines. And that gives me the Perl regular expression, and then I can call in that language. I call my match, the corresponding of match. So different languages have different ways to say, hey, here's how we talk about regular expressions. The takeaway point is they are a different type than string. Think of them as a different type than string. I know it's often easy to think of the pattern as the string, but our type checking is enhanced. Even our internal mental type checking is enhanced when we realize, no, we have patterns and we have strings, and we use those as separate types. Okay. Sounds good. The next video is going to be a little bit optional. I'm just going to talk about using back references real briefly. Okay. Have a good morning or afternoon or evening or night.